Okay, with Carling Ernstzen, The Last Rehearsal is the short film. You're the director of the film. It's writer, director. So it's based on a story about this acting teacher. He has terminal cancer, and then he rallies his kind of favorite students to do one line final stage play. So
Exactly.
what
Yes.
assumes that this is a true story? Because it felt like a true story.
It absolutely is.
Okay.
It's based on my dear acting teacher, John Campbell, and a close acting troupe in London. And yeah, it was inspired by his passing, but more importantly, it's not an exact retelling. All of the thread is true, but I wanted it to obviously be more of a meditation on what happens when that creative leader or mentor in our life passes, that legacy that has to be passed on. What happens to that? Who
Yeah.
carries it forward? And that's really, I wanted to summarize that obviously in a 19-minute film, so a bit more poetic at the end. But really, yes, it's a love letter to my amazing teacher and all the amazing teachers out there who support us, or people who come into our lives and inspire us and just touch us in ways. So it's hopefully broader than just one person, but yeah, it's absolutely
No,
based on.
I like what you just said there. So did somebody carry on his legacy? Did someone kind of was the baton passed to somebody else?
I guess to us, his acting students who were left behind, we carry him with us every day in, our how we treat our performances, the truth that we hope to find in them, even as a writer, because he himself was not just an acting teacher, he was a playwright.
Yeah.
I started writing actually really inspired by his passing. When he passed away, we were in the middle of a play, like you just rightfully said, that it was his final production, although we didn't know it was gonna end so quickly. And when he left, what I felt was, I think, not just the sadness of losing a friend, a teacher, but just that he was the person who wrote the plays, who the words, that he gave to us actors. And that kind of, that stark absence really was the impetus. And in the end, an amazing gift to start writing myself and start writing for this little acting troupe that we had back in London. Yeah.
That's amazing. And so this is your first film that you directed?
Yes, first film directed. Very exciting coming from an acting background. Yeah,
And was it this story itself that inspired you to direct a film for the first time?
absolutely. So really, the inspiration was that same group of actors. We'd all stayed friends, and many, many years had passed since his tragic passing, and we were all just basically wanted to get together after the pandemic. And do something together just for the joy of acting, for getting together again. So there was no grand plan of it becoming what it has become, which I feel is so beautiful with everyone's contributions. And one of the actors who'd read the script, who plays John, Carl Welsh, I will name him our protagonist, who's absolutely brilliant.
Mm.
I met him in John's class. He remembered the script. I shared it privately to a few of my close acting friends. He remembered it and he said, let's do that one. It's time. And it just organically progressed from there. But
Yeah.
it really did awaken an absolute love and kind of crafting it as a whole, not just being kind of the actor, but just seeing the writing come to life and to working with the cinematographer and the amazing sound recordist and sound designer and the editor. Just that whole process awakened a completely new side in me. And now all the scripts that I've written, I feel like I can actually kind of take them forward with renewed kind of confidence as a director.
That's amazing. And story just to go back up, it's like I'm laughing. I'm saying it's a joke. He's like, let's do this script because I'm the lead, and this is a great art film. Right?
Funnily enough, he actually wasn't cast as the lead at the time, which is
Yeah.
funny.
Okay.
I mean, I think he knew he assumed as much. He fit perfectly in terms of just he could carry the weight of it, and he knew John very well as well.
Yeah.
But no, that it was very much more. We should do this one, and he knew I was gonna he was gonna be
And
the
then
lead.
so I'm assuming the other like you're in the film as well, but I'm assuming the other actors are part of this
Yes, so
class
not
that
all
you're
of them actually, which was kind of strategic. Some of them knew John, most of them
okay.
knew John, and then two of the actors, Daniel and Ian, were actually new to the troupe. They didn't know the story at all, and that was very purposefully done by myself because I didn't want it to be a documentary. Like I said, it's not a retelling, it's a meditation. And I really felt that new acting energy, just instinctively, I felt like that would just change the dynamic to make it a bit more universal and
Mhm.
take us out of our, how real it was.
Yeah.
Um, and specifically everyone was also given an individual character, so no one played themselves, which was very helpful. So they played the feeling as a collective of grief. So instead of us individually experiencing this grief, it was exploring that group collective. What happens when someone important leaves a group? And that was key for me. So yeah, two of the actors were outside of the group, but they were welcomed with open arms, and it just brought a fantastic new energy.
So I want to get talk to you about your direction because I think it's pretty
Mm.
fantastic. There's a great shot in the film. There's lots of them, but there's a really good shot in the film.
Can I just say Jonathan Nickel, our brilliant cinematographer, and Jafia, who supported him on assistant camera. I must shout them out.
Yeah, because there's some really nice. So the shot of like because I think that I've been in this environment before, not as an actor, but I guess in a creative kind of collaborative setting where everybody kind of sits together in their like circle in their chairs
Yes.
before the mentor or the teacher
Mm-hmm.
comes in, and everybody's kind of like talking about everything, and you got a really great shot where you're kind of like panning through them talking, and then all of a sudden like he enters, and then all of a sudden the energy changes in the room. We're
Yes.
like, okay, now we have to stop our nonsense talk or our I'm kidding, but basically our like kind of like having fun talk, and then like he
I'm,
enters the room. It's a
yeah.
really great shot. Like it's
I
like
love that you picked that shot because
yeah,
there's a very funny story that comes the origin of that shot. First of all, Jonathan Nicol, he is absolutely brilliant. He's a UK director of photography, and he just read the script and it resonated with him. And he is super seasoned. He's just brilliant, and for him to come on board was an absolute gift. And as so many of the crew who were way more seasoned than obviously me being first time director, um, and he was just brilliant. In pre-production, we would just bring ideas, and that was so much fun. He would just come with references, and we'd use shot deck or whatever the case may be. And I actually was thinking, how are we going to shoot this? I don't want to just be on one person or the other. That doesn't feel organic to me. And I actually, one of my favorite movies is Alien, and there's a scene in Alien where they're all sat around a table.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And it's
yeah.
that breakfast scene where they're
It-
all sat around the table and chatting to each other, and the camera just kind of pans slowly around them, but you get glimpses of personality and interactions. And
yeah.
I literally sent that reference to him. Granted, our references up until this point have been Living, the film, Dead Poet Society, and all of a sudden my Alien reference. And because he's just brilliant, Jonathan just understood without thinking, what genre are we shooting now? Sci-fi? And he was just like, yeah, I get it. And he just immediately got it. I said something that can just feel like there's energy, like you're capturing them in a moment, but also highlights the different personalities without being having to do oneers or twos, if that makes sense. And he just ran with it. Obviously, he elaborated on the concept, but the fact that he was so open and willing with my crazy references, and it was an alien reference.
It's
Yeah,
so funny that you mentioned that film because Derek Van Lint was the DP, and he lived in Toronto, and
yeah.
we do these like script readings, and we used to have like we used to bring in kind of moderators or kind of
Mhm.
mentors to talk about the script afterwards, and he
Mm.
used to do it for us. So basically, he passed away in 2010, but he was a crusty old man back then. But basically, but he was the DP, and he would talk about always about Alien and about. So it's so funny that you brought. I just name
That is
dropped him, basically.
crazy. I love
Yeah,
that. I love
yeah,
that you brought that up. But that was also just a great convergence of lots of ideas brewing together. As film, as you know,
yeah.
it's everyone's ideas combined, it's working together. So starting from one silly, well, seemingly silly, I think brilliant. Alien's one of my favorite movies. Um,
But the
yeah,
context is so different, right? Because they're sitting around, but they're not actors. It's like a completely different vibe and tone of the film. But it's a great shot, and you're kind of using it. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. So okay, so there's some really good some direction. So you used a lot. So did you? So you shouted out to your DP. You did a fantastic job. I'm assuming he was a camera operator as well. Some
we had
really nice
assistant camera.
shots.
So we had one assistant camera who was also brilliant, who he'd worked with before,
Yeah,
Jacques Benedict. And then we had I'll just shout out a few people who were absolutely, I mean, everyone was brilliant. I think you can see by the cast and crew list, we were a skeleton cast and crew, which
yeah.
meant we all just locked in. And it was, I know this sounds, I've been on many sets. This one just really felt like everyone was so synergized, and that's why it worked. A 5-day shoot, and we just got what I think. I'm very, very proud of everything that came out of it. But yeah, so it was him. A lot of pre-production with me, which I really enjoyed, and obviously just talking it through. But Jonathan, something about him is he actually has a degree in script writing. So he came to the film world through script writing. So he could just read my script and I could immediately see that he just, I can't describe it, but you know, when it lands and somebody's already visualizing it, I absolutely felt that with him. So even though I didn't have the DOP shorthand coming from an acting background, he filled in those gaps for me, which was brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah. So did you guys? So you guys shot list, sorry, like, everything? Like I'm assuming, and then did you storyboard anything before?
Absolutely. I did some storyboards using visual references, but really ultimately it was that shot list that was, I mean, really our go-to, our reference point for everything. If we had to cut something out, we immediately
Yeah.
just knew exactly what could we lose, what did we absolutely have to keep. That shot list was gold. So yeah, we did the shot list together, quite a few weeks of pre-production where we just had fun and just shared ideas. And I think that was, you know, from that just fun and sharing what we like,
Yeah.
you know, anything that popped into our heads, we just send an email and say, what about this? Or what about that?
Because you got like because the state the rehearsal space or the acting space, you got to make it visually interesting, right? So
Mm,
what are we doing with the camera? You got obviously you have lots of handheld shots, lots of depth of field where like
mm.
in the background you always have the clock. It's kind of the symbolism that time is running out, right? So
Absolutely, absolutely. Which I know is a bit on the nose, but for me, time is for through John's lens. Time is about. He comes from obviously a generation where, I mean, you know, time was respect, time was constraint, time was everything, time was truth. It was the ultimate truth. So the clock, as on the nose as it can be, and there've been many memes about you know, films using clocks, but I really did feel like absolutely the clock needed to be there. And I will speak on behalf of Jonathan because he's spoken about his process to me so beautifully. He did say that with John, he really wanted to always frame him with his students. So a lot of the shots you'll see his students on either side of him, or he's slightly elevated. That was a very conscious choice for him to, without us having to do too much in the performance, to show how important this man was to us. He built that into the architecture of the cinematography, which was brilliant as well. So there's a lot of things where John's always on a seat, or they're seated, or when he walks in and they're all sat, he's framed by them, just to show the interconnectedness of that troupe to their acting teacher.
and then you got the like by the way the acting space that where you shot it was that the
Mm.
actual acting space that you
No,
guys okay.
that was somewhere completely different. That was a space in East London called the Chisenhale Dance Studio, which were unbelievably brilliant. I emailed around lots of places, and they were just so warm and welcoming. They would just like absolutely come. They gave us a discounted rate. They were so generous. And it's people like that who are just community centers who really, I mean, we have
Yeah.
to take our hat off to them for just welcoming. I mean, an entire film crew came in, albeit a small cast and crew. We respected the space. We made sure that we shouted them out in our socials and just, you know, just made sure to keep that relationship going. But it was just very generous of them to let an unknown crew just come in and take over. And it was a beautiful studio, which we chose specifically for the face brick, because
100%.
a lot of studios that I looked at were just
They're
white
boring.
walls. Yeah,
They're boring. It's
yeah,
just like one blank wall, right? Like that's what I was asked, wondering because it's
yeah.
like because most 90% of studio spaces are just a blank wall, right? They're
Trust
not
me, you are
interesting.
so on the money, Matthew. It's
Yeah.
exactly that. It's like I saw
Yeah.
about 50 studios that were just like white, and we're like, we do not need whites for, you know. And yes, we found this place, which was by miracle actually, because I was going to watch one of my friends perform or rehearse there many years ago, and I remembered the space, emailed them, and again, just them being gracious and kind, because not everyone's going to allow a a crew to come in, and they just understood the project. They were brilliant. Yeah.
So you got a lot of shots. It's fun, interesting because you're an actor, and it's like it's just basically shots of close-ups of the faces, right?
Mm.
Obviously, the lead where like you have two moments where like you kind of just push in on him, and he's kind of like thinking
Mm.
about like who knows what that feeling is, right?
Mm.
I guess we're gonna know eventually. Most of us
Yeah.
is that we're gonna know like basically that thing that you only have a few months to live, like
Mm.
what's going on in the brain, right? And you don't allow he doesn't do a monologue, he doesn't do a big speech. You just
No.
like put it on his face and you let his acting or his
Mm.
subtext tell the story, I guess, right?
Absolutely. And Carl did that brilliantly. Again, knowing John, and again, no one could be inside his head, but Carl executed that so beautifully and with such restraint. I mean, the first shot that we got of Carl was actually the doctor's scene. And I just remember he did it in one take and I absolutely gasped. And I just burst into, like, it was the first and probably only time I got very emotional on set, when he just said no. And that just destroyed me. I was like, brilliant. And I was like, nailed it. Like, that's it. And then from then onwards, the trust was kind of built. Not much had to be said. We kind of, it was the inaugural shot. And from then on, it was very free, very relaxed, and you're very restrained is a good word to use it. So just letting him, whatever thoughts he was going through, whatever process he was, as an actor, just letting him be, really.
And then near the end where you have the close-ups of the all the actors, and there's really nothing is being said, and you're kind of doing these interesting shots where like they're out of focus, and then you're kind of pushing
Mm,
in, and you're just letting them kind of. That's what happens, right? When like someone passes away, nobody's really speaking, nobody's really talking, right? They're with the energy in the room, but they're also in their heads, I guess, right? So you kind of just
absolutely.
let them. It's almost like you let the camera breathe, and like you just
Yes,
let the actors
absolutely.
kind of, yeah,
Absolutely. And that is also a testament to a combination of, obviously, Jonathan, as well as our amazing editor, Harry Baker, who really, I mean, we could have done many things in the edit, but
yeah,
he really just trusted that, we're just going to let this shot just go. And even if it's slightly longer in between each actor, we just trust that that energy that we're resonating as a group is gonna read. And I think, yeah, again, down to some very beautiful editing where we just trusted the performance, trusted the moment, and let an audience sit in silence or sit in whatever they're feeling. I won't I won't project.
yeah.
Uh, and we just trusted, and that again was a combination of brilliant editing by Harry Baker, great restraint, and great intuition by our amazing director of photography. Yeah.
And then in real life, you did put on a show afterwards, after he passed
This
away.
is the sad bit, actually. That bit is
Oh,
actually not true. So
oh,
we never got to put on so this is kind of where the retelling comes in, what I wished would have happened. Sadly, we never did do that. But in a way, that's what the last rehearsal is. The last rehearsal is saying, although we didn't get to put on the play that John wanted, it just felt too difficult. It felt too raw. This is our way of saying thank you. Thank you for everything you did for us. We're still going. We're still creating. We're still a group. And we're honoring everything you taught us. And we're trying to carry it forward as best as we can.
and so there was any like I'm assuming he has some surviving family members. Have
Yes.
have they been
Yes.
able to watch this film?
Not yet. Not
Okay.
yet.
But I'm assuming they would be honored to watch it. I'm sure they would be, yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. And fingers crossed, we are in the beginning of our festival journey.
Gotcha.
Hopefully, so we've just started. So hopefully, fingers crossed, there'll be something in the UK to screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess it's played like we're gonna play it at our festival, but then you have, I guess it's played in Sweden and Greece, and then
Yes, that's
obviously,
cool.
right? That's what I'm just looking at the film
Oh
free.
yes, Film
Yeah.
Freeway. So actually, we've had some amazing news. It's going to be at the Dam Short Film Festival in
Oh,
February.
that's a good
Yes,
festival. Yeah.
and I'm going. It's going to be very, very exciting. Our executive producer actually is from that area, and she actually knew of the film festival and said, "You've got to submit here. It's a brilliant film festival. 22 years in the running. It's a really amazing part of legacy. Again, a legacy, to be part of that. And so I think it's such an amazing festival. We're going to be there on the Friday." And we've also got another festival that we just heard about in Chicago, which is very exciting. But we will drop on our socials.
That's good. No,
So we
it's
heard
like
about that.
I can see you're just starting out the festival run. It's
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's there's something here. Like it should do well in the festival circuit.
Thank you so much. It's
Yeah.
been, I mean, the support so far has been overwhelming, and it's just been such an honor to be on Wild Sign. I can't believe it. This is crazy. So cool. I've watched so many of your interviews. It's really a source of knowledge for filmmakers and anybody who wants to get into film and understand how other people have done it, and the trials and tribulations and the fun bits. And it's really such a great platform. So thank you so much for doing what you do. It's excellent, very
Thank you.
inspiring.
Well, that's that. Thank you. That's so good to hear. sometimes you think you're in a vacuum, but you know you're not. But then you that's how I pretend it, like you're kind of in a vacuum. That
No, you're definitely not. You're absolutely
yeah,
being watched and supported and appreciated for the platform that you run. So yeah, to you and your whole team, everyone. I don't know who else I've been emailing. I think her name is Allison. She's also been
yeah,
fantastic. Shout out to Allison.
yeah. Thank you so much. So, okay, so do you have the bug now? Are you going to direct again?
Oh, absolutely. I've got, I mean, ever since then, and when I wrote this was 7 years ago, ever since then, that was the beginning of my writing journey. I've got two short films currently in development, both kind of heavy subject matters, but always with, I like to think, an aspirational or a positive through line. I'm not scared to go to dark places, and I'm really looking to kind of widen my team and to meet new people who want to come on this journey. So yes, the next one's going to be bigger in scope, more ambitious, but still keeping that intimacy and that humanist drama themes. And I've also written a dark comedy, a pilot. So I like to kind of, if I'm writing something that's really tricky and really tough, I do like to counterbalance it with something fun and funny. It keeps me
Yeah,
sane.
totally.
So yes, absolutely. I cannot wait to go forward. And again, just having worked with so many brilliant collaborators on this, I've absolutely got the bug. I'll never stop acting. Acting is my first love,
Yeah.
but definitely stepping more into my authorship is very exciting.
Are you going to act in that film, the next film that you
Not,
direct?
no, absolutely not. Not everyone, unless there's a part that I think is appropriate. One of the short films I could possibly, that's a role I could possibly do, but I would always want to just look at the story first, look to see. There's so many brilliant actors out there. I love actors. There's a wealth of people to choose from. So unless I think I'm right for the story or it really speaks to me, it's something that I want to bring forward,
Yeah.
absolutely. But one of the other scripts that I'm working on is a male protagonist. Definitely not me. So we're gonna go, yeah, definitely outsource. So no, yeah.
Do you think making this film has made you a better actor? Because especially in post-production, where you can kind of not manipulate you can manipulate performances. You know that, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. I think for the first time coming into kind of being the creative center of a project, I was like, I would recommend this to almost any actor, even if it's just a small little short film you do with your friends, whatever the case may be. It absolutely changes, exactly as you're saying, how you would work with the director, understanding your role on a set, um, understanding what's needed. I think most actors, even if you haven't directed, you kind of have a good instinct for it, but it really is just such a stark awakening, but in the best possible way of seeing it from the other side.
yeah,
But also, it's been such a joy to direct actors. I think I've absolutely loved that. That has been so much fun. But it was also thanks to the amazing cast who just trusted me, who held me, and just, it was very strange. The first day we did the rehearsal, we did one rehearsal, and, coming in, because a lot of them were my friends, coming in
yeah,
as the director, and just to see them kind of focus and just, they treated me with so much respect and kindness. I was like, it was just brilliant. So I think this was just one of the most rewarding experiences, born out of something so tragic and painful.
yeah.
So yeah.
Well, I think it's fair to say that as an actor, if you have trust in the director, it makes your performance that much better. It's like
Oh,
that.
absolutely.
Sure, you've been somewhere where like you didn't trust the director, and it kind of sinks your emotions a little bit.
Absolutely. And vice versa. I think if they can feel that a director trusts them, they're willing
Yeah,
to take more risks. They're willing to go even deeper or have restraint if necessary, willing to not push it and just trust that we're going to get what we need from the shot without them having to go anywhere that's artifice, always just anchoring in that truth. And that's not always easy. You sometimes just get glimmers of it and you can kind of feel it when you've done a scene where you're like, wow, I really was rooted. It was truthful. That's so few and far between. So just allowing your actors to relax, to let them know that you trust them. We can fail together. It's just play. That's always what I like to say to myself as an actor and to if I'm directing, it's play, guys. We're just playing. We're trying to
yeah.
bring some truth, but it's just, which sounds so ridiculous, but it really is. Even with very heavy subject matter, at the end of the day, yeah,
All right. On that note, I love to see what you do next. This is a great film. I'm sure it's going to do well in the festival circuit. I'll keep an eye on it, see what other awards you get and other screenings. And let's talk again when you make your next film.
amazing. Thank you so much, Matthew.
Thank you.